But there's been something brewing. Of course, we did Gamescast once a week for a long, long time. And then we said, you know what? Blow it up, do it each and every day. It'll allow us to be nimble, to address things as they need to be addressed. Yesterday, on Kind of Funny Content, the one and only Snowbike Mike, host of the Xcast before Tim killed it against everybody's will, came out here and talked about Phil Spencer, all the things he said in these interviews with Destin, with Paris, with Danny. And at the end of the segment, I go, awesome. And are you excited about the Xbox's future? And Mike went,
Can I say, when me and you were talking about the Phil Spencer stuff and Paris was in the call, that was the exact question I was going to ask Paris before he disappeared.
yeah,
And
a cowardly move.
a cowardly move because he knew I was going to ask him. I was like, are you excited about Xbox's future? So I'm happy we have Mike to answer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we
Paris
asked that.
jumped away.
We asked that to Mike, and he, they're like, whoa, that was not, that wasn't what we were expecting. That's not how we thought that
It
was.
sounded
gonna
like
go.
someone let air out of a tire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then today for Jerica, when we were talking about Phil Spencer, Mike came out. I asked him again. He kind of dodged. He kind of got around it. This is the alpaca store.
That's the alpaca store. That's the shit. That's the type of shit they sell at the
Kuyusi
alpaca
Maki?
store.
Costco.
Why are we so low?
Kevin's just adding it.
He's fixing it.
So
You know,
Today he came
Barrett's
out.
out,
I
you know?
asked a similar thing, and Mike said, "I want to talk about that." We're doing at the end of the week. We have similar to how we did last week. We did what's the predictor, or talk about the rest of the PlayStation 5's life cycle. We're doing one of Xbox or whatever with Gary and Paris. But I feel like that's a different conversation than what we're having right now. Right now, we as a family, as a company, as a community, need to know what is Mike's beef with Xbox right now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of like a venting session, like get it out, because over the past couple of months, over the past year, Xbox has been in a different place. Xbox is moving a different direction. And some of us are totally on board for that. We see the future of the business. We're happy for the business. We're happy with that. But also, there's players out there, maybe similar to myself, that have to make a decision, have to kind of start looking at the future of where do I stand as an Xbox player or just a gamer itself. And I'm a little worried about where I am right now. And so, I want to start off by saying I am very happy and I'm impressed with the vision of what Xbox is doing business-wise.
Okay.
But as a player now, I've battled with this, Bless, for the past couple of months.
Sounds like a breakup.
Am I invested still in this ecosystem where I should be buying the next generation of Xbox? Or with the moves that they've been making with their first-party titles, Andy, should I move on to buy just a PlayStation? I can only buy so many consoles because, as you know, my bank account is low.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't just keep buying things. Or am I just a dedicated PC player? I also have to look at myself and say that. I have to look at myself and say, am I a dedicated PC player that gets the benefits of all the worlds because Xbox is going day and date? PlayStation's clearly showing their hand that they're going to start putting more and more first-party titles on PC. Is that the best place to play?
But PC is an Xbox.
Exactly. But my problem is, Bless, is I have this worry that we're putting all these Xbox first-party titles over on PlayStation. Should I just be buying that console? Am I too deep into the Xbox world that I can't get out of this because I've spent thousands upon thousands of dollars in this?
Mike, if you had asked me 7 years ago, should I just buy a PlayStation? I would have said yes anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like this has been a thing that's been going on for a while. Not Xbox putting their games out on other platforms,
But it's bigger than that, Bless. Because this isn't just, do I go to the other ecosystem, which will eventually have my games? This is, will I forfeit my Xbox Live name? Am I going to have to become a DualSense user? It's a culture change.
But is it sacrificing your Xbox Live name because of the PC? You're going to be still Snowbike Mike. You're going to still be using all the Xbox stuff over there, yeah?
But
a lot of the games come to Steam. And unless I'm using the Xbox app and using Game Pass, which sometimes doesn't provide enough value, am I still using that Xbox?
I mean, I do like how over the time it has become more and more clear, and they are doing I would say a good job of just kind of being more and more transparent with it, where when all these talks were first happening, it was like, ooh, is there maybe going to be a game to come over here? Ooh, man, they're kind of hinting at some stuff. And then now it's just Phil Spencer being like, it's not smart for us to keep all of our games only on one console. That's not the move for us. That's not our future. So I like that it's out there more. And I do think that, yes, your PC will now become your Xbox. Your PC will be the place where you are playing these Xbox exclusives, and buying the hardware for you would just be like an extra thing to kind of have an extra piece of hardware somewhere around in case the PC version releases and is broken as shit, or
No, that never happens.
for sure.
Please.
Yeah, it's a weird spot, but this is the future for you now, Mike.
Is the handheld enough?
Absolutely
Is
not.
the handheld the thing that keeps me in this going, I'm going to buy that,
Where's
right?
your Steam Deck?
Thank you.
Steam Decks and
This
all
is the
this other
problem.
stuff.
Absolutely not. All characters and everything else aside, right? Like, I'm so excited for the Xbox handheld. By the time the Xbox handheld gets here, it will be lapped by whatever the next Steam Deck is, whatever the next ROG Ally is, whatever we were talking, or the things yesterday in the headlines and this, that, the other, and Paris came on and he was like, Xbox is going to go make an OS, Steam OS. So they're going to be all over these things. It's like, if I can get that experience on those handhelds already, why would I care about the Xbox handheld? It's too little too late, I think, by the time theoretically we'd get to it, because Phil says it's years away, right, in this Destin interview. Like, Xbox is making so many of the right moves, but they're not making the right moves to make you go, oh, I can't wait for the next Xbox. The next Xbox gets exciting again for somebody like me that wants it turnkey. I go, the rumor was yesterday, again, not the rumor, I guess, but the prediction from Paris on the show was the next Xbox will also be able to have another operating system or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So if you're booting launchers for anything, Epic Game Store, Steam, whatever it's going to be on the Xbox, for me as somebody who just wants shit to work, that's exciting. That's really cool. But like, at that point, how good are the PCs going to be?
Shouldn't you
We
just
talked
be
about
buying
this
a
yesterday,
PC?
right? Like I'm traveling this weekend. I got review codes I need to go through. So our friends at Razer didn't send me one for advertising purposes. Just like, I said, hey, can I get help? And they sent me the Blade 18 laptop out there, right? That thing is so fucking impressive. I was playing games on it at my desk yesterday, and like, you've all heard me bitch about the widescreen monitor I use that doesn't have HDR. And so to boot this thing up, play Cryptical Path, which I've been playing on Steam Deck, and see how much faster it loads on this thing, it's one of those like, goddamn, like that's a very impressive machine that I'm probably gonna end up begging not to be a loaner. Just let me keep it because it's better than my PC at home. And to Mike's point, like I booted I'm waiting on codes. I booted up Starfield on it yesterday, and to sit there and be like, I know, ha ha ha, but like to boot it as somebody who's put so many hours into Starfield and look at it and be like, God damn, look at the detail. Look at how good the Starfield looks on this fucking PC, this laptop. It's like, what is the point of having an Xbox Series X when this looks that great? It could do all the things you're talking about.
I think as long as things start to get more friendly with the Xbox Game Pass app and Steam, once those we start to see a lot more integrations where it's not on Steam Deck right now. I have to kind of do some roundabout ways to get the Xbox Game Pass app to work on my thing. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not user friendly. And that's something I would recommend.
It's the point to me, right? This is my whole thing where I was asking you about it, like, and I'm like, until it's load the app and do the thing, I don't want to fuck with it. I'd rather ask about getting a laptop to travel with to make sure I have a better experience than what the deck would be when so many of our review codes are not optimized for Steam Deck.
That's where the ROG Ally would kind of come into place, or come into play, where the ROG Ally would work like a PC, where you could just open up the Game Pass PC app, or you can open up Steam and you have all your games there, and it's a more powerful piece of hardware, but a little bit less, I guess, streamlined, right?
No, that's my thing, is like, that's where I think an Xbox handheld comes in and gets really exciting to me, because I own a Steam Deck, just got an ROG Ally last week. I booted up, it boots right into Windows, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to watch some YouTube videos to figure out how to set up. I would love for this to boot up right into an OS as opposed to booting up right into, like, something where I'm gonna have to like figure out how to get the games I want to play and make it easy to get to those games or whatever. If it was just an Xbox handheld with an Xbox OS, I think I'm at the point where even though the ROG Ally, even if we're calling the ROG Ally like the top of the line as far as what it brings as far as power, right? It's more powerful than a Steam Deck. Let's say in this scenario, it's more powerful than an Xbox handheld. I think I still lean toward, actually, I think I might prefer getting an Xbox handheld just because I'm getting the OS, I'm booting right into that most likely. And then also, I know that the Xbox games that are going to be supporting this ecosystem are going to be optimized for this thing. And I think that's exciting as somebody who I am looking at the Xbox, studios that they have. And I'm like, we're getting to a point now where I am looking forward to a bunch of games from these studios. Like, we talked about the first half of this year and what's probably going to be the second half of this year as far as oh wait, Xbox Game Studios has the stuff, and I'm excited for South of Midnight and Avowed and all these games. I think one thing to bring into this conversation, I've noticed it from hearing you talk, hearing Greg talk even, right, of you guys talking about why should I care about the next Xbox? And that still sounds anti what Xbox has been establishing as what they are marketing as Xbox. I don't view there being a next Xbox. I think there might be a new Xbox hardware or a new Microsoft hardware, but I don't think they're looking to sell 100 million units of the next Xbox, like, you know, whatever it is, right? Like, I think it is, hey, no, we are looking for a user base. So if Mike is playing on PC, we are happy with that as long as he's playing Xbox. And I think that's the thing that matters way more is like, I'm excited about the ecosystem. I'm excited about getting an Xbox handheld. If we get to a place where Xbox has like the little streaming stick, like little Xbox Roku thing that costs $50, $100, like as long as we keep building on that, for me as a player, I'm like, yo, this sounds like the best case scenario.
Smoking Joe's 420 super chats and says normies need an entry level priced console still, and that is still a real conversation. It's why the Xbox Series S is so successful, why they can't abandon it, and yeah, what you would hope the Xbox handheld would do if it was, here is a very cheap way to get in, and you can plug it into your screen, and it does this, and opens up that gateway to, we get you as a user. And then if you are committed enough to go, oh wait, these can look better on a PC or an Xbox, whatever, you invest that money on that hardware to still stay in the Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah, Bless, I'm with you with the games, right? I think there's a two-part conversation going on here. I'm all in on the games. I believe in the first-party studios. I like where they're going. Some games won't speak to me, but there are a lot of games that do, and I like the idea of Game Pass giving me those day and dates. But the issue is we're halfway through a console life cycle right now, and we are unclear of what is next. Is it a true console? Is it just a handheld? Will he look at me and just say, hey, we built a PC? Like, well, I already have a PC. So I guess I'm looking at it now. It's like, am I making that jump of I'm going to commit to buying an Xbox console the next generation around? Or is this the time of, hey, I have alternate paths of my PC. They're going to start streaming on my TV. Do I believe in that? Am I moving away from that console? And I feel like right now, with the uncertainty of I don't see it in front of me yet, I don't know where I stand on buying the next. I can't say I'm confident in buying the next console.
But I think that's fine though, right? Like I don't think they care about you buying the next console.
But I'm worried because I keep investing in the platform, right? Like, is this time to be start buying stuff in PlayStation? Should I be upgrading my Steam library and just buying on the Steam instead of buying games on the Xbox proper platform?
That sounds like such an exciting problem to have as a player. Because like Mike, if you're telling me that like your issue right now, right, your beef is, oh man, am I going to have to buy a PlayStation and play PlayStation and Xbox games? We're living in the best case scenario because that's the world I want to live in. If we can get Nintendo in that too, and I don't have to buy any other things, like that sounds like the dream.
Yeah, but I don't have that library built up, right? So like when I jump over to PlayStation, I don't have that library already pre-installed and built up. I've only had a couple of games still come over. So now when you're like, oh, Mike, we're having just a blast on Monster Hunter Worlds, and I'm like, I had that on Xbox, and it's like, okay, should I rebuy this again? I have a problem.
Well, we're going to be playing Wilds, right? And that's cross-platform, so you're fine.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm just bringing up those like older titles. All of a sudden, you jump on with your friends. And
you are such a different gamer than me. You have such a different experience than me. Does that happen a lot to you? And also, would you like? Would that have? You're not like what I was at 13, where I'm trading all my stuff in.
Yeah.
If tomorrow I was like, hey, we're all playing that Aliens multiplayer game that we played for a while and enjoyed. I forget the name of it.
We go back to a fair amount of games.
Well, you still have your system to jump into, right?
But like it's on PC now. Is what I'm noticing. I'm moving towards PC a lot more.
But you still have your Xbox. You still have your thing.
It's starting to collect dust. I'm worried.
Yeah,
I think that's the moment inside of me of like, I think it's a very big positive, like Bless brought up, of like now having those Xbox titles anywhere and this ecosystem built in of you can play anywhere. Now I am moving towards of like, well, I am just a PC gamer now, right? Like I'm not looking over towards that console because I have all of my experiences, all my friends list, everything there, where this could just be my new place to play.
So you don't see yourself sticking with the Xbox ecosystem, even on PC? Like you don't like Xbox app?
I rarely use the Xbox app. Only if I want to really take the benefits of Game Pass, then I would use the Xbox app. But I would say 99% of the time, the first click I always do on my PC is the Steam.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but you know, opening it recently when I was downloading Ninja Gaiden 2, the sort of re-release on Game Pass. One thing I really love about the Xbox app, they got that time to beat. You could sort games by time to beat, which is really cool. We need more of that. And also, the future of Xbox would be super bright if I could buy an Elite 2 fucking custom mod shop or whatever the hell thing without the little black handles. I'm tired of the grips.
You don't like the
Mike.
rubbers.
Get rid of the
you don't like
grips.
rubber
The
grip.
damn rubbers
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
falling off, man.
Feels better without a rubber.
It does. Sure does.
I can't tell you
You're
how
telling
many
me.
times I've just torn through those contrers. My controller at
The
home right now.
bumper's
already
always
feeling it.
breaking.
I thought you were gonna say you tore through rubbers. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
you said it.
And so yeah, that's the fun, exciting part of my world right now with Xbox changing and evolving. You kind of look at it as a player of like, where do I go, Bless? Should I be just jumping on a PlayStation console so I can get the best of both worlds? Should I stick on PC knowing that PlayStation games are coming over there as well? Xbox is there day and date. You can take advantage of the Xbox app, and I just kind of move away from the console. It's hard to believe that because since 13 years old, I've been buying the original Xbox and the Xbox 360.
Do you think we can
and
get there
Xbox
with
One.
PC? Because I think I fully understand what you're talking about now, right? As far as like ecosystem and reasons to stay there.
Yeah.
Because I think I always viewed the solution to that is, well, your ecosystem is still on PC, right? But I think the Xbox experience isn't there yet to be like, this is my home on PC. I'm with you that as soon as I boot up my PC for a video game, I'm automatically going to Steam.
Yeah.
And like Steam has such a chokehold on like the PC gaming experience that it's tough to think that like Xbox is going to be able to keep up as far as like giving me, I guess, a home in that way on PC.
Yeah.
Do you think what do you think it'll take for them to get there? Do you think they can get there to make Mike go, oh, I don't need an Xbox console. I have a PlayStation and I have my PC and Xbox. Like, you know, I am an Xbox player on PC. I'm not even worrying about Steam at this point.
I think it's got to be the improvements to the Xbox PC app, which they've been doing. I got to give them credit for that, but it's not perfect. It still needs time, and it's still growing on that. But it is, of course, the first-party output. You have to prove to me that the first-party output is there so I can continue to hold on to a getting more and more expensive Game Pass subscription and going back to that all the time, right? I think the first reaction is I go to Steam, I look at the thousands of games that released that day. Oh, there's one from Xbox and 30 from other third-party developers that I can just buy, and
A lot
I
of
stick
porn.
on that.
Whole lot of
Craig.
porn. Oh my gosh.
Who's letting,
If you're gonna-
who's
letting that on
letting
there?
that happen?
You're gonna browse that on stream.
Yeah.
You got to turn off like the not safe for work filter.
Yeah.
Well, you just
I-
can't hover over it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it's a little
you can
tough.
see the thumbnail, but you can't.
Little
Don't
tough.
hover over.
I'll say though that the question that Bless is asking of you, Mike, of the Xbox, like, will that Xbox PC app ever overtake the Steam
Yeah,
app for you?
No.
No.
I don't think it will.
And it's
And I don't think
the-
it's a bad thing, though,
and
right?
it's no, I don't think so either. But I think it's the same thing that Epic Game Store, that's the same sort of hurdle they've been trying to overcome for a long time. And after
You're
being
talking
at,
about a storefront I never opened.
dude, after being at Summer Game Fest and talking to like a couple of Epic folks and being like, what is it that you want to see? And I'm just like, honestly, once the Steam Deck came along, that was
Peace.
like any sort of last hope for me to open the Epic Game Store, unless the game is exclusive there.
Yeah.
Or, I think Epic does a great job of putting some games for free that are awesome for people who don't have money to be buying a whole bunch of games, but maybe they have the Epic, the app open or whatever. And then the weekly offerings or the monthly offerings, here are these free games. That's great. I love that shit. But it's just like, it's so hard to pull me away from that Steam ecosystem. As somebody who's only been playing on Steam PC games since like 2020, the start of the pandemic, like that's not that long.
Yeah,
And so
same.
you got to imagine the people from 2012,
Yeah.
2015, like there's no shot you have of sort of stealing them. So that's why I feel like you need to have, when I open up Steam, I need to see Xbox Game Pass as a game in that list. To click on that, and then up pops on the
Yeah.
window all the Game Pass offerings, because I feel like it's sort of like, if it's not there, it's out of sight, out of mind for me. I need it to be right there in order for me to go, oh, what's up with the store? Let me click on this, as opposed to clicking up another app, which sounds like the most lazy shit ever, but that's just the reality of how I operate on my PC.
This episode's brought to you by Built. If you're a renter, I'd start taking advantage of Built if I were you. Here's the thing. We earn points on groceries, travel, and practically everything else we buy. But we should also be earning points on rent, one of our biggest monthly expenses. Built changed the game by letting renters earn high-value points on rent and around their neighborhood. There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So, if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/kindafunny. That's joinbilt.com/kindafunny. Make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you there. Joinbuilt.com/kindafunny to start earning points on your rent payments today. This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. What do you want your 2025 story to be? Every January brings you 365 blank pages waiting to be filled in. In 2025, maybe you're ready for a plot twist, or maybe there's part of your story you've been wanting to revise. Life isn't about resolutions that fade by February. It's about picking up the pen and becoming the author of your own life. Think of therapy as your editorial partner, helping you write new chapters and create the meaningful story you deserve to live. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp, and they love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And it serves over 5 million people worldwide. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/kindafunny to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny. BetterHelp.com/kindafunny.
Yeah, Mike, I think what I'm understanding now about your predicament is that you're a man without a home, or you're becoming a man without your home, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are coming in. There are.
I'm not going to move in, by the way.
PlayStation and Steam are gentrifying your Xbox home. And like, when you look down the barrel of 3-4 years from now, I totally understand your feeling of, okay, well, yeah, like Xbox might be on PC, but when you boot up your PC, you're playing Steam. Okay, well, if I'm gonna play on a console, like, am I gonna buy the next Xbox console, or am I gonna buy the one that has like PlayStation games and Xbox games? And you know. I do understand the feeling of, I have lived here all my life. You know, I have owned this property. Like, I grew up here, and now y'all are coming through and fucking, I don't know, big tech corporation wants to build a big office here, and you are forcing me to move out because I look at my home and it's like, do I want to keep putting money into this home when I can save money and go over here? Like, that's the exact predicament that you're in right now. And I totally understand where you're coming from.
I'm not ready to take the jump either, Bless.
Yeah.
I love that console. I love that ecosystem. I like pressing the button, hearing the ding, jumping in, seeing the homepage and navigating just like I would, knowing everything. And it's just like, where, in 5 years, where am I going to be on this? Is it smart to be continuing to invest in this? Or should I just become a Game Pass guy? Every now and then I get it on Game Pass. I'll jump in and play a couple games, but I'm investing all my money into Steam or over on PlayStation. I'm just buying games there.
I turned that son bitch on. I'm like, where's the Apple TV app? Where's the Netflix app? It's just my media machine. Started Severance last night. Season 2, by the way. Finally started season 2. No spoilers, but like, watch episode 1. All right, we're off to a good start.
Back.
We're off to a fiery start.
Can I tell you my dream scenario, right? As somebody who, of course, came up, played Nintendo and then played a lot of PlayStation, right? Like, and I'm, to this day, my home console is probably my PlayStation 5, followed by my Nintendo Switch, followed by Steam, which I've been playing a lot on Steam lately. Played First Berserker Kazan on Steam. I might play the whole thing.
Oh, interesting. What drew you to Steam for it?
Say again, sorry?
What drew you to Steam for it?
Oh, because the demo.
Isn't it? Demo's everywhere, though, right?
Oh, is it?
Demo is on PlayStation. but check this out. This is one of those things
the
where
mind share the demos are on
well,
PC.
I had the the homie Jasek, who's always often in our chats. I was like, I'm not seeing this demo on PS5. And I remember posting about this years ago.
Yeah.
Where
click
you
in,
go to the thing, you have to click the 3 dots
Yep.
to then go to the demo. Why the fuck isn't it the first thing you're seeing? So that's another
My whole
argument
thing,
for another complaint.
I mean, that complaint exists and persists. And last night when I was like, all right, Mike told me to get back on Silent Hill, I download Silent Hill with my Portal, right? And it's like, cool. It downloads the Silent Hill bonus content. I'm like, what the delete,
dude.
go in, delete. And then I got home, or I did it from home to do it to the work on. Same fucking thing. I'm like, God damn, remote playing, deleting all this shit.
If I'm actually doing the power rankings right now, Steam is actually above Nintendo. I'm using my Steam way more than I'm using my Nintendo Switch. When the Switch 2 comes out, that'll change. That might end up my number one. But like, you know, it is PS5, Steam, Nintendo, and then my Xbox is just collecting dust. My dream, let's say 3 or 4 years from now, is that it is going to be me with my PlayStation console. I'm going to have my PC for like, if I want to play, like, you know, if I want to play in that fidelity, if I want to get into that, play on my widescreen, maybe play on my Steam Deck a little bit. Of course, my Switch 2 is going to be Switch 2 in. But then I do want an Xbox handheld where it is like, all right, cool. I'm booting up an Xbox OS. I'm playing my Game Pass stuff. Like, that's my dream ecosystem right there of like my multi-platform. I'm playing everything and everything has its own purpose. I don't know if that does much for you, Mike, as far as looking for a home, but like,
yeah,
I don't know how that hits for you, Greg, as far as where do you see
right now?
yourself
I'm so excited for where we're at and where we're going. And of course, it's because, you know, my home, the PlayStation, didn't abandon me like Mike's home abandoned him. You know, they kicked him out. He's a man with no country. He's over there. He's big boss. No, for me, like, obviously, as somebody who time is, as long as anybody's listened to me or known me, it's been dominated by PlayStation because that was my beat to report on, right? Like, that's just inevitably been that way. So nowadays when people come through and like, oh, do you want review code for this game? And I'm like, yeah. And I look at the game and I'm like, give it to me on Steam. Does it run on deck? Give me a Steam Deck code. I love that like I'm finding those reasons to use these things I've bought, right? Like that was my big moment. I'll never forget sitting at the kitchen table, hovering on buy the Steam Deck. And Jen's like, just buy it. And I'm like, but what if I don't use it? Like I'm gonna be so mad if I spend $800, whatever it was, $900 on this stupid thing because I bought the biggest one. If I get this and I never fucking use it. And so the fact that I use it for games independently on it, I do so much cloud streaming on it for Starfield. Like I love that ecosystem. I love the fact that I use it. I love that is my PC. Like I have a tower at home that we've had for kind of funny stuff and yada yada. And if I need to do something hardcore on it, I'll do it. But having the deck there and like being able to plug it in, which I rarely ever do, but have in the past, like I love that can just be my PC. I'm excited for whatever the deck 2 technically would be, right? I know we did the OLED in the middle there, but whatever the next iteration of that would be, how powerful it can be, what the battery could be, like I will be a day one buyer of that. I will buy that and be excited for it. I do hope in this. So anyways, for right now, before I get to the future, right? PlayStation 5 would still be number one. I would say deck is right behind it, where it is like I'm playing a lot of PC stuff. I use my PC a lot. And then behind that would probably be the Xbox. Yeah, because of, again, Starfield obsession, little things. And also looking at this year, where this year's going like with Avowed. Like I'm going to put a lot of hours into that, right? We talk about all these things that are supposed to come this year, whether it be Outer Worlds 2, whether it be Fable. Like they're speaking my language, South of Midnight. Like these are games I'm going to play. You know, would I play them on the PC? I'm not against it. I want to transfer the save back and forth, but then we're into what Andy was talking about and what I've talked to Andy about of like, well, is the Game Pass going to work? Is it going to be weird with the deck, right? That again, with the loaner laptop, it's like, okay, this opens up stuff I can play with and try that and see if I like that ecosystem more. But even that is exciting to me of, cool, I have a Razer laptop out there that is awesome and everybody seems impressed with it. I don't know what any of the specs mean, right? 4080, awesome, great, whatever. But it's like, that's turnkey right now, right? There's nothing I need to do to it. So that's fantastic. That's what I want. I want to be able to load the game and play it and have a dedicated space and have the screen. It's going to be great on a plane. Awesome. That's an exciting thing. And the thought of, well, that save then works on Steam. I mean, come on. What an amazing, and I know this is so stupid, but for me, Greg, the PlayStation guy, what an amazing platform Steam is of cloud syncing saves. Your things are over there. This is going, I play it on my deck. I put it on the big machine. I put it over with you, right? It's what I hope that Xbox figures out with them, right? Of like, okay, cool. How do we make the saves transfer even easier? Because again, Xbox is cool of the Game Pass PC. I can get my Starfield thing and kick it over to Xbox and do it to the cloud. That's an amazing ecosystem as well. Like I have so much variety and choice right now that I am playing on more systems than ever. Like that's new to me. And I feel like I'm flourishing in that. Whereas in the past, it's been PlayStation 5 code. Oh, we don't have it. Fine. Well, fucking Xbox, I guess. And I play. But, you know, we talked about it yesterday, I think, on Gamescast, like our year-end wrap-up. And yours was just like, cool, it's Hellblade, right? And mine was Starfield, followed by Hellblade. And, like, that was really all I played there. Maybe Dungeons of Hinterberg, too. But it's like, even that, I think I got a Steam code for because I wanted it on the fucking go. So, like, I'm eating. I'm so happy with everything. The Switch 2 coming out and, like, the rumors of an Ocarina remake, fuck yeah. A new Mario Kart, fuck yeah. I'm going to be all about these things. So it's like, I love the diversification. And to look into the future of what that means for me, I love what you're talking about. I think of what the future would look like, and my hope would be it would be whatever the PlayStation is, because I'm still trophy and I'm still getting my single player games there. Whatever the next Steam Deck is, because I think it's such an impressive machine and I want my games on the go and I think it's amazing. And then Paris put the honey in my ear yesterday. And so my hope would be that then it is this Xbox that is Xbox and is able to run Steam. And I am I'm doing Steam Deck stuff and I'm sending my save over there and I'm off to the races and happy.
Like right now, we're in a situation, and I think because of the
I would switch to. Obviously.
I think because of the line of our work, right? Just the nature of what we do. I love kind of trying to be ahead of the curve and hopping into these early access games and giving my thoughts and opinions so people can, either be guided and, maybe, I like Andy's taste in games. Maybe this is something that's worth checking out, whatever. But right now there's a beta for a game right now. A little game called 33 Immortals. You ever hear that game?
I've heard of it.
Thunder Lotus Games formerly made Spiritfarer. 33 Immortals is that 33-player action roguelite that is just a bunch of people raiding bosses, all sorts of stuff. And it's currently in beta on the Xbox Insider program and the Epic Store. No Steam. The odds of me giving that a chance? Probably next to zero, right?
Yeah.
Because I just don't really have those... those aren't kind of within my reach. Opening up the Epic Game Store does not sound like something I want to do for this. And I probably don't know my password. And I think my password is through my PlayStation Network account.
Don't even start it.
And I just if it was on Steam, easy download. I'm just not there right now with the Epic Game Store.
I learned when we were streaming the Fortnite Valorant mode. That's when I learned that I had a second. Or no, it was when we were playing. Oh yeah, it was the Valorant mode. That's when I learned I had a second Epic account.
Everybody's
I was like,
got
what did
two.
this
Everybody's
happen?
got two.
What I mean? Sometimes you just gotta have two.
Sometimes you have three.
Gotta have a couple.
I want to give you some super chats before
Lay
we
it
get out
on
of
me.
here.
Let's talk
Before
to
we get out of this, because I still want the previews, Mike. I sent you. Where'd you go? Vegas?
I went to
LA?
Vegas.
Fucking Jesus. Over here, okay, Koba in a super chat says, isn't it unwise for Xbox to be asking for potentially 3 SKUs when Xbox game sales are lowest? Waste for devs. I don't agree. I think the SKU thing is interesting, and we're talking about the S, but I think as soon as they say, cool, the S is just gonna be the cloud machine from here on out, like the old stuff, obviously, but clouded up there. I think again, you're just trying to give people, whether it be the S, the handheld, the X, whatever the new thing would be, just trying to give them entry points into this, let alone again, this screen is a fucking Xbox, which I think is brilliant. It worked on my cousin who, got an Xbox Game Pass and is super into it. Why not, right? Shay Slay says, here it's called sheepskin gifts and alpaca too.
Thank you.
There you go.
What are
Yeah,
they
that's
selling
okay.
there?
Nico says, my worry is Xbox's rapidly changing strategy. Yesterday, Bless asked, why do people keep asking Phil the same questions about red lines? It's because the answers change every 6 months, which I do not agree with. I do not think it's every 6 months Phil's changing an answer on if it's going to be exclusive, if it's not, if it's the whatever.
I think it
Mike doesn't agree
A
with me.
little bit. I mean, I agree with that. Yes, I think it's become clearer over time. There was a little bit of murky water at the beginning, right? I think it's just a big ship to turn, and it feels so rapid because you are 4 generations deep into an ecosystem, and now we are really moving and saying well, all these games that used to be exclusive that we used to sell the console on, they're everywhere now. So it's kind of like a whiplash of sorts to try to go through right here. But it is happening. I think they have stayed true to their word of what is going on right now. You get kind of muddied waters of where Starfield, why not just say all these games are going to go? That's all you have to say. I don't know why we hold it back and keep our cards close to our chest when you've shown that these will happen. Halo is coming to PlayStation one day. Gears of War will come to PlayStation one day.
Yeah,
we just haven't heard that, and it still feels whiplash sometimes.
I think that last statement he said was kind of all you needed to hear of what I said at the beginning of the show is it's not in our best interest to keep to 100% say that a game will not go somewhere else. That's not in our business plan. That's not smart business for us. Where, yeah, I kind of agree where I don't know, it felt like a year ago that it was no, you buy Bethesda to sell your console. You don't put those games elsewhere. You buy that stuff to bolster your hardware and make people want to buy an Xbox. Yeah. And now it just seems like
but
that's
did
all
they
kind
say
of
that
out
or
the
did
window.
we say that? Because I feel like that comes from people. That comes from the audience. But I don't think they ever went. We bought Bethesda to only put their games on our console.
It may have been the way that they were slowly drip feeding what games were going elsewhere.
Yeah.
It may have been the way that when Hi-Fi Rush goes multi-platform, we're like, oh, so it's going to be these types of games. I see Xbox. And it wasn't just those type of games. It was always planned to be everything, but I think they wanted to not just blunt force hit us across the head with everything's up for grabs. I think they wanted to kind of slowly drip it out.
I think the one flack I will give, because I think a lot of it is, we've talked about this for years and years, and I think it has been the back and forth of like a group of audience being like, everything's going to go everywhere, and then the other group of audience, being like, hey, you buy Bethesda, you're doing that to sell consoles or whatever, and like, it's to what we talked about yesterday as far as the fan and audience investment that they have in Xbox, because it is like almost like the not to mean say this in a mean way, right, but like the last place mentality of, oh man, I've been here and I've invested in this and like I got to fight for it and I got to be involved and I got to make the business decisions for Phil Spencer, all that stuff, right? And so we're overly engaged with it. To say all that, right, I do think around this time last year, where there were the reports of certain games, was it last year or 2 years ago? I don't even remember at this point, but certain games coming to Xbox. There was like 2 or 3 games. I think it was the Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves conversation.
Sea of Thieves, Grounded, yep.
And I think it was Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, and like Matt Booty sat down and they did the podcast. And we were like, oh, it's a podcast. It was like that scenario.
Oh, yeah.
And I think during that, it did feel like they were towing the line as far as, oh yeah, these games are going to come to Xbox, but then I don't have to go back and watch it verbatim. It did feel like they were saving room for, but like these games aren't going to come to Xbox. I don't know if they ever said it verbatim, but it felt like
you mean aren't going to go to PlayStation?
Or sorry, aren't going to go to PlayStation. Sorry. But it felt like there was like a turn at some point where it was, oh, actually, yeah, these games are coming to PlayStation. And I think that's the one piece of like where that didn't line up with like, the words and their actions didn't necessarily line up. But I think that might have just been the one-off scenario of like, oh man, maybe y'all shouldn't have spoke on those. And like, I think we've talked about this as well, Satya Nadella and Microsoft from the top coming down and being like, oh no, there's no red lines. Like everything has to be able to come to PlayStation or other platforms so we can make this money. It felt like that almost got taken out of their hands.
That is all correct. And so I actually want to go back to Nico's comment here where I was like, I don't think it changes every 6 months. In that context, it does. And I know that I'm splitting hairs here. My interpretation was more the flip. I read into your comment a flip of it's exclusive, it's not exclusive. The way I would phrase everything we just talked about and how we talked about it yesterday was that the message keeps evolving, that Xbox's business model keeps evolving, and Phil has to keep doing that. So the thing he said about, okay, these are, I saw somebody shout out, when they got Bethesda, new Bethesda IPs would be exclusive or something to that effect. That is a changing thing. And yes, I stand down in that. I was incorrect. I was reading it a different way. I meant the fact that it evolves, but I understand. And yes, to that respect, yes, it evolves. Yes, it changes. You are correct. I had another one I wanted to get in here before we get to an ad break. Here we go. Street Shadow says, I see a lot of people say we want one console or PC only world, but what does that do to competition and how to generate new ideas? And how does that generate new ideas? It's true. But again, even when we say that, I don't see it being, we are getting down to one thing. We are talking about the next Xbox being two things in one, possibly, right? Maybe this is just a pipe dream. We are talking about getting an OS onto this, competing OSs. We are talking about the ROG versus the Steam Deck. Like, I think even as we go to one, if we went to one platform, everything's PC, you'd still have people making different things and working on ecosystems and different operating systems to try to be the best place to play.
Yeah, I think people are working with like a narrow view of what competition is, because it's not like Xbox is going anywhere, at least for now, right? Like, I think Xbox still exists in that space as far as hardware, right? Like you mentioned, Steam Deck, ROG Ally,
is it ROG?
PlayStation. Technically, it's ROG. I talked to a PR person who doesn't work there anymore, and they're like, technically, it is ROG. We don't say ROG. We don't say ROG. It's ROG. But like, you have all these different pieces of hardware. Nintendo's like, doing their thing, right? PlayStation's doing their own thing, and I do think that the moves that Xbox is making, I think, are going to leave PlayStation in a place, and not just the Xbox thing, right? But like, I think PlayStation in general are in between a rock and a hard place of PlayStation can't be PlayStation forever in the way that they're operating currently.
100%.
Because of the amount of money it takes to make games, because of how long it takes to make these games that are more demanding as far as fidelity, scope, all these things, right? How much difficult it is to like, how much more difficult it gets every generation to make a fucking video game, right? Like, that isn't going to stand. And so like, yeah, like I think the competition part of it is happening. Xbox is making competitive moves right now because they're in a position where they have to. That is going to ripple over to PlayStation, where they're gonna have to look around and go, shit, we're being left in the dust.
With every fiber of my being, I believe if Xbox can weather what they're in right now, and not even the storm, just financial world 2025, as we see everything happening, right? If you can weather this and have this vision, there's going to be a day where it is suddenly a flip, where it is like, oh, PlayStation, what is PlayStation doing? And it is that they are still so archaic, and they are still their box and their exclusives and da. You will get to a point where this cloud strategy, every screen is an Xbox, we're partnering with PC, we're talking to Steam, we're using OS, like you are going to have a day where that suddenly, I feel like that clicks into place, and you do look at PlayStation and go, oh, you're fucked. You didn't do it fast enough. Now, they are going to PC with older games. Clearly, there's a pipeline. Clearly, if when this would get to that point, they could flip a switch, for lack of a better term, and be like, cool, yes, our exclusives are coming to PC day and date. But even then, it would be the thing of, cool, hopefully my Xbox thing that boots on the side can do it, right? Because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about what Paris is talking about of having a dual booting Xbox, that suddenly I can play Spider-Man on my Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, that's an exciting proposition. When PlayStation would have to inevitably give up the ground or open up streaming or do whatever they do, then your Xbox would be doing that as well, which is a very fascinating conversation.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the next generation sell is, right? We were sold this generation on the most powerful hardware available. Oh, there's a second SKU to get into more people's homes. And what is this one? Is it just a handheld? Because Greg, I'm right on board with Xbox, with the ecosystem in that sell of every screen can have your games, all of your purchases. But what are you selling me next one? What is this going to look like? Will people get up and go, I'm excited to buy that? Or will they go, I don't really need that? So
and there will be
really
a lot
excited.
of people. There will be so many people who don't need that.
Yeah.
But then there are so many people like me, and even less than me, right, in terms of their connection to video games, who would be like, oh, awesome. That gives me all of that and all of this. And yeah, it's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's like even the Razer 18 laptop out there that I'm having a great time with, right? And I'm excited to get really hands-on with on this trip. It's awesome right now. I think about having that in the 3-year commitment to it. In 3 years, the memory card or the graphics card and all the stuff is outdated and it's not running games flawlessly. I'd be like, oh, I don't have the desire to do this. It's why I'm talking about the Steam Deck. I'm excited for Steam Deck 2. Sell me that so I have a better Steam Deck experience, where I could go and have a better PC experience right now. There's always going to be people like me who just want it to work and turnkey.
Yeah.
Final one before ad break. Bubby Kai super chat and says, Mike, picture the next Xbox. A beautiful, spherical, rectangular-ish thing with a button press and chime in all its glory, playing your Steam library and Xbox library, whispering in your ear, you're home.
I love it. I'm very excited to see if that's the sell, right? Of like, are they really going to approach us in, whatever years from now? Let's just say 5 for fun. 5 years from now, Phil gets on stage with Sarah Bond and the team, and they go, we've created a box that does both. And you have the freedom now to choose. You can do whatever you want. Go do it. Okay. Is that just not a PC? Should I just not be buying PCs?
Yeah, this is a PC.
NZXT is just selling PCs by the wayside that are the exact same as this. Is that really going to be that much cheaper than an NZXT pre-built computer?
Well, but it would run Xbox natively, right?
Well, Xbox app on PC is already doing
But you already
Xbox
don't like
stuff.
that. You don't like that.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like, are you just not selling a PC now? And are people really that excited about it?
Can I ask you a question?
Tell me.
Do you think it is possible for the next Xbox console to be the least selling Xbox console of all time, but also at the same time for Xbox as an organization to be more successful than they have in the last 2 generations?
I think that's what they're setting themselves up for.
Yeah, I think that's
Right
what they're
here,
going
right
for.
now.
Yeah.
I think that is
Like,
the
I
next
think
move.
I think we have to prepare
handheld.
for the next console to just not sell as much.
That's
like,
100%.
I think that's
going to happen.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be like you're mentioning, from a user base, from an install base, we had this many daily active users on the Xbox Game Pass app or whatever it may be. That's going to be where their big success is.